Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Inside Elections. Today is Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, and today we're going to be talking about this news, not exactly news, but this analysis out of the state, specifically of Texas, but nationwide as well, about how Hispanic voters are shifting to the left and what exactly it means for the 2026 midterms. Now, this is primarily based on the special election results of this Texas Senate district that happened a few days ago on January 31st, but this applies to other elections too, and I'm going to get into that later, but I'm going to talk about this district, this election specifically right now. So this district shifted as a whole left by 32 points. The Democratic candidate got 57.2% of the vote, and when Donald Trump won this district in 2024 by 17 points. It was like 32-point swing to the left. And what makes this swing so possible is because Hispanic voters shifted overwhelmingly to the left. In 2024, in this district, Hispanic voters voted for the Democrats voted for Kamala Harris by 52.9 points. Democrats did win the Hispanic vote, yes. However, in this special election in this district, they won 78.7% of the vote. That is a 26-point swing to the left. Now, yes, other demographics also shifted to the left. White voters shifted to the left by 17 points, Asian voters by 12 points, black voters by 5 points. But the majority, the largest swing, was Hispanic voters shifted to the left by 26 points. And more specifically, in specific counties and specific precincts, Hispanic voters, these districts that are majority Hispanic shifted to the left in some cases by over 50 points. Now, yes, this is of the early vote in this district, but these numbers are pretty much the same for the early vote and the election day vote. In fact, Democrats actually did better in the election day vote than they did in the early vote. The actual results ended up with the Democratic candidate getting 57.2% of the vote when where is it? When the early vote only showed the Democratic getting 56%, so they overperformed the early vote. So these numbers are roughly the same for the early vote and the election day vote. So these districts, specifically in this county, which we're going to talk a little bit later about other elections, but this county shifted to the left by these overwhelming, huge double digits. And what this means for the 2026 midterms is astronomical, specifically in the state of Texas based on the congressional districts. This is the congressional district map of the state of Texas. This is the map that Republicans drew last November, drew a while ago for the Republican Party to give them extra seats in Texas in the House of Representatives. What I noticed is that some of these districts, all these districts are solidly Republican. For example, District 28, they drew it to be a district that Donald Trump won by 10.4 points. Same exact thing for District 35. Donald Trump won this district by 10.4 points. This district won by Donald Trump won it by 10.1. This district, Donald Trump won it by 18. But we're going to talk about these three districts mainly. These are the districts that Republicans drew for themselves, because these used to be districts that were Democratic. Texas is 28th. In 2024, it went to the Democrat candidate by 5 points. They drew it to gerrymander for the Republicans to now go to the Republicans by 10 points. Same exact thing goes for Texas's 34th district. Texas 34th. It was Democratic. In 2024, they drew it to the right by about 13 points. However, these districts could shift back to the left. Texas's gerrymander could fail for the Republican Party, and Democrats could actually win these districts because a Trump plus 10 district in 2024 is not guaranteed to be that same margin in 2026, especially because these districts are majority Hispanic districts. These districts that are majority Hispanic districts that are shifting to the left by 26 points. Hispanic voters shifting to the left by 26 points, while the districts as a whole are sometimes shifting to the left by 32 points. Majority Hispanic districts that are Trump plus 10 in 2024, by no means are going to be Trump plus 10 in 2026, if that makes any sense. So these districts that were drawn to gerrymander for the Republicans could backfire, and Democrats could actually win these districts. And the reason I'm saying backfire, because yes, the Republicans are going to net seats in the state of Texas. That is undoubtedly. They drew 5 seats for the Republicans. At the very most, Democrats have a chance at winning 3 of them that they're supposed to go to the Republicans. They're just, no matter what, they're going to net 2 seats in Texas. However, they drew these seats after they drew 5 seats for the Republicans. Of course, if they only win 2 of them that they drew for the Republican Party, California gerrymandered for the Democrats in response to those 5 seats Republicans did, and Democrats are going to win these 5 seats in the state of California. So while Republicans are gerrymandering, they also gerrymandered Missouri and North Carolina. If they're only winning 4 seats for the gerrymandered seats that when they were attempting to win 7 of them, Democrats are going to come out ahead of the redistricting war that Republicans began. Democrats also redistricted in Utah and New York, not redistrict to give them extra seats. And this would put Democrats at a 3-seat advantage in the redistricting war that Republicans began. And the reason I put Florida in this title because this also very much affects the state of Florida. Florida is attempting to redraw its congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterms. And the thing about Florida, similar to Texas, Texas has a 39% Hispanic population. Florida has a 27% Hispanic population. That is a pretty large population of Hispanics, of Hispanic voters. And if they're going to redraw these maps, they're trying to redraw Florida maps to give Republicans 3 to 5 seats. And knowing Florida, they're probably going to try to give them 5 seats. So if they try to gerrymander these 5 seats out of the state of Texas, this would be the map. However, Democrats in these districts are not going away. Their 40% of the vote in Florida is still 40% of the vote in Florida, even if they're compact into Republican districts. So what that is going to do is make these Republican districts closer. They're going to, all these Democratic voters in Tampa, in Orlando, in Miami that are being disenfranchised, they're still going to be there. They're still going to narrow up these districts for the Republicans. And if they're lucky, especially if Hispanic voters shift to the left in a similar degree as they did in Texas and as they did in New Jersey and Virginia, but we'll talk about that in a second. But if they shift like these votes, Democrats could win some of these districts back and turn Republicans gerrymander in the state of Texas, not Texas, but the state of Florida into a potential dummy mander. Now, we don't actually have the proposed maps. They haven't released the maps that they're trying to implement in Florida. We'll know later. We'll know exactly what might happen once we get those maps. But as of right now, Democrats could win some of these districts that Republicans are trying to gerrymander away from them because of Hispanic voters shifting to the left and the overall environment shifting to the left. Because, like I said, these Democratic votes do not go away. They're just compact into Republican districts, and that makes Republican districts more Democratic. It makes them bluer, which could result in a dummy mander for the Republican Party. And now I want to talk about how this is not a one-time occurrence. Last year, also in the state of New Jersey and in the state of Virginia, also Hispanic voters in Hispanic counties shifted to the left by large margins. For example, in New Jersey, in Hudson County, it is a county with a Hispanic population of 41%. The Democratic candidate, Mike Sherrill, won this county by over 50 points. Compared to Kamala Harris's margin in this county in the state of New Jersey, she only won it by 28 points. That is a 22-point swing to the left. And now, yes, New Jersey as a whole did shift to the left in 2025. I can actually show you the shift right here. Just give me 2 seconds. 2021, New Jersey as a whole shifted to the left by 11 points. But specifically these Hispanic majority counties are shifting to the left. This county shifted left by 22 points. This other county, Pasiac, I'm butchering that pronouncement. That name, I'm sorry. But this county Hispanic voters make up 43% of the population. Mikey Shera won the district by over 15 points. When in 2024 Donald Trump won this county. So this is not limited to Texas. This is also in New Jersey and in Virginia as well. In this county, Virginia, in the city that is nearly 40% Hispanic, swung by 22 points to the left. In these Hispanic counties, these counties that are Hispanic are shifting to the left. And after they swung so much to the right in 2024, they're shifting back to the left, and that could create dummy manners for Republicans. That could make Republicans lose Senate races in the state of Texas and maybe even the state of Florida. In 2024, let me get to it. Senate. In 2024, Ted Cruz only won. Why is it showing the number? But Ted Cruz won the state of Florida by 8.5 points. He won it by 9 points. 9 points, a 9-point shift left is not impossible whatsoever if Hispanic voters are shifting back to the left in enormous swaths. If that makes any sense. Okay, I've been talking for too long. My point is Hispanic voters, specifically Hispanic voters, are shifting to the left by large margins after swinging to the right in 2024. And that shift back left could lead Democrats to winning the 2026 midterms by huge margins, could potentially lead them to winning states like Texas. It could lead them to overcoming Republicans' gerrymandering in the state of Florida, to overcome Republicans' gerrymandering in the state of Texas, to potentially come out ahead of the House of Representatives in 2026, even if Republicans trying to gerrymander it. Okay, what are your thoughts on this news? Do you think this is great news for the Democratic Party? Do you think it's all smoke and mirrors? What do you think? If you enjoyed this video, I encourage you to like the video, to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I upload election news every single day. I encourage you to comment feedback. What are your thoughts on this news? If you have video ideas, just let me know video ideas. I'll make videos on it. Turn notifications so you can see when I upload. And yeah, have a great day.